Can I interject by saying before you finish that I am Jewish? So I don't want nobody to come on here and try to be like we anti-Semitic. I'm Jewish.
Oh,
Shanah. Kyrie Irving is in a dimension. And he's in a dimension because of the fact that he actually shared a post on Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. The movie Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America uncovers the true identity of the children of Israel by proving the true ethnicity of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, the sons of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Find out what Islam, Judaism, and Christianity has covered up for centuries in regards to the true biblical identity of the so-called Negro in this movie packed with tons of research.
And you said Christians, you said Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, right?
Yes.
And everybody's calling us anti-Semitic, but those are three different religions.
Correct.
Got it.
So after Kyrie had made this post and then subsequently did his interview after a game and doubled down on what he said, his coach Steve Nash was let go, and Charles Barkley said he should have been suspended. Some Jewish people sat courtside at one of the games with "Fight Anti-Semitism" on their shirts to, I guess, let him know that we don't believe you. You need more people. I thought it was a kind of bully move with all of them sitting courtside with the shirts on, and I'm sure that they were, saying some things out of their mouths while he was playing. The reporter after the game was trying to bring him in, but I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Kyrie has done in the past, but in this particular situation, I stand with Kyrie.
I remember years ago. You know how you're up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, they be having those infomercials or those. And I wasn't listening, but it was mainly about Jews. It was a white man, and he had a soft-spoken voice, and he was walking amongst the rocks in Jerusalem, sorry. And I was in and out listening, and I started seeing some Africans, and I didn't pay attention. I'll be honest, I didn't pay attention, but what I remembered about this documentary was that last line he said was, I guess Africans are the true Jewish people, the true original Jewish people. So his whole thing was about how Africans were the original Jews.
Can I interject by saying before you finish that I am Jewish? So I don't want nobody to come on here and try to be like we anti-Semitic. I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. I got proof.
DNA to prove it.
Not and just my name.
And your name.
Not just my name.
Chaya.
I got the l'chaim. I got proof of it. So please continue. Go ahead.
But please talk lightly about the situation.
But when did it, and I think this is a bigger thing, because it's just when did it become, if I don't agree, I'm anti this? If someone says that the Blacks were the original Jews, that's automatically seen as anti. But there are a lot of people who can give you a history on how that may be possible. So it's like if someone says love who you love, I just don't agree, then that person is anti-gay. And it's just like, no, the person just didn't agree. And it's just like, when did we all have to come to the same thought and think the exact thing?
When Trump got in office, I think something like that became more prevalent. So then, because people had to choose, so it was just like, do Black lives matter? Do blue lives matter? Do all lives matter? And where are you at? So, you know what I'm saying? And then Trump kind of ran, and then he didn't allow people, but he gave them the courage to feel like, well, if the president doesn't give a damn about them, why should I? So, I mean, I think just that that mindset of, you know, well, if you're if you're pro-black, then you're anti-white.
I was like, no.
It's like, nah, like I'm just down for me first.
Right. Before you guys.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but that's another thing too, because people who don't necessarily have experience, or people who live with more privilege won't understand that. And then as far as not necessarily understand, just geographically think of it. How many white people are coming from these hot burning places where it's just like, you go to the Middle East, you go to Africa, it's just like all those areas, it's just like, this is not necessarily like the domain of, I mean, Jesus has blonde hair and blue eyes. That's not what it said in the Bible though. So it's just clearly like, y'all don't get it. Like with skin of bronze sounds black to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just, the hair of wool.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just
Gibson.
You know what I'm saying? You get conditioned long enough, and then somebody bold enough who gives you the courage to then come forward and say certain things. Now, if you say this, you're against me, and if I say this, I'm against you. Even though that's probably not what you mean, that's just the implication behind all those things now. So you can't be for yourself without being against somebody else. I can't tell you that, yo, I like LeBron over, like I think LeBron's the GOAT. All of a sudden, Jordan's career was terrible. You know, everybody else's career was horrible. Nah, bro, I just like his style of play better. Like,
right. That's it.
Just, like, I didn't say he was bad. I just like his style of play. Well, yo, Jordan's the GOAT. Oh, so you saying LeBron's horrible? No, I just think he's better. That dude's great too. Two things can be true at the same time.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. Do you think if the movie was called From Asians to Hebrews, or From Irish to Hebrews, or from anything that is not black, do you think it would have been called an anti-Semitic movie?
No.
I think with the time that it came out, I think that a lot of what's happening is not necessarily because it's a black people. I think it's riding the coattails of the whole Kanye thing. Because I feel like, well, I don't feel like, I know that we're in a time where when something like this happens, other factions that aren't related try to pile on top, or pile as much on top of the wave as they can before the wave dies out.
Right. And
that happens across the board with anything, like with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, when they put the joint on the street and then every commercial had something black related to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they try to pile as much on top
as to ride that wave.
So I think even if it was Asians or whoever, they're still going to shout anti-Semitism just because that's what's trending or what's popular right now. And they're trying to milk it as much as possible.
I don't think they will. And I'll say they wouldn't do that for this reason. Nobody's ever been outspoken like that against Jewish people before. So, and especially a black billionaire. Niggas can't have that. So
Lisa Lampanelli, remember the white comedian Lisa Lampanelli? I don't know if anybody remember her. She was a funny comedian, and she had she was always talking about black people because she loved dating black men. So she always say she'll start out before she started talking about black people, her black, about how having black men and sucking black dick. Excuse my French, but I say that to say one day she had a big HBO special. And she talked about every race. And so, like, say she's 25, like, let's say it was 2020, 2020 for all the races. And when I tell you, she might have said one soft, buttery joke about Jews and kept it fucking moving. But I found that very interesting that she knew, and this was way before COVID, because y'all didn't even know who Lisa Lampanelli was. So that just shows you what she was, whatever she was like in the 90s. And back then, you couldn't talk about them people. Oh, no, you not.
Because I mean, even Dave Chappelle made the joke when he was just like, "Hey, I got an idea for a movie, and it's this group of people, and they do interstellar travel, and they leave the Earth, and then they come back to the Earth, and they think the Earth is their very own, and I'm gonna call it Space Juice." You know what I'm saying? Now, again, it was it was two. He did that concept of the joke like a reiteration of it like 2 or 3 times within the same stand-up, but you know what I'm saying. But as far as getting on a platform or multiple platforms and calling them out as bad of a job as Kanye did at that, but just trying to bring attention to the way things are set up. And I thought maybe not purposely, again, Peter Rosenberg, I thought him being somebody who's in the entertainment business, who's around all these different figures, getting on the radio and saying, we did this intentionally. We got into Hollywood and into entertainment intentionally to control and do whatever. I mean, that changed the way that I viewed it, because I was just like, well,
they're probably trying to silence him now.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he's always been outspoken, on his Jewish heritage and everything like that, and who he is and where he comes from. But for him to be on there and to say that and be public about it, it was just like, yo, that I don't know if he realizes it, but you're kind of but you're giving credibility to Kanye's argument. Just Kanye did such a bad job articulating that it's just like people aren't really gonna try to hear anything. But if you're being objective, you know what I'm saying? If you're being fair and you're being objective, and then you hear Lear Cohen come on the radio and essentially say the same thing, like, yeah, we're here, and you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do, and I don't care what happens to you because I got mouths to feed.
So that begs the question: Can it actually be anti-Semitism if you are in fact a direct descendant of Hebrew lineage?
Okay, so first of all, they don't claim you, bitch. You got your skin too dark for them. They not gonna put Kaya, no, not you. Maybe another Kaya. Listen, let me see them pick it for your damn show to stay on.
I mean, Nick Cannon told the story.
Matter of fact, if you change your show to the Jewish movement, they will consider you anti-Semitic.
The L'chaim movement.
The L'chaim movement.
They can say they consider me whatever. What they consider or what they don't doesn't matter, because I am what I am. You can't change what I am.
So that's like, you know what? Like, so it's interesting that you say that. So like, I love to watch like gay comedians, because gay comedians can talk about the gay community and not get flack. Black people, we could sit there on the mic and talk about our black people, or even the show we talked about, Takeoff's death. We talked about how our black community needs help. Now, had that been a bunch of Jewish people sitting around talking about our black community, we would have been pissed off. And we would have been like, Black Lives Matter. Like, how dare you talk about black people having rage in their hearts? So it's just more like who is talking about the situation, who, it just depends on who it is. And like you guys discussed, we're at a sensitive point where everything bothers us, everything.
That's like somebody talking about y'all, but like, no, you can't talk about. I could talk about my sister, but you can't talk about my sister.
Yeah.
But so that is the question. Mm-hmm. So just because obviously we have Hebrew names, but because we're not wearing a yarmulke, or we don't read the Torah, or we don't, you know what I'm saying? We don't go to temple.
But that goes back to that question I asked you guys. If the movie was called From Asians to Hebrews, or From Ireland to Hebrew, it wouldn't have been so, like, anything dealing with us, it's like, oh, like, I don't want your blood mixed with my blood. No, I don't want to don't claim. Don't do that. Like, they don't want to see that our blood was mixed with their blood years ago. Like, no. We're purebred. Don't, all that stuff. I don't know who was having sex with your great grandmother that caused you to have a name Kaya. No, they don't even want to know how you got that name Kaya. They don't even give two shits how you got that name Kaya. Matter of fact, you can go on the court. Don't even tell nobody who you are. They're not gonna claim you, Kaya.
I mean, when I was in corporate or when I worked in banking, people would see my name and they would be like, "Do you know what your name means?" Like,
I hate that.
You think I'm this age, not knowing what my name means?
Yeah.
You
like,
know, like,
I know what my name means.
But anyway, the Nets went to the Anti-Defamation League to find out what they need to, how they can deal with Kyrie Irving.
I didn't even know that existed.
Anti-Defamation League.
They having,
but what are we talking about here?
Level meetings.
They're having high level meetings on how they can get rid of Kyrie. Reggie Miller is calling out NBA players like, why y'all so quiet on Kyrie? What are they supposed to say? Like,
that's why I told you take my square out of this damn subject. Because I ain't got
this
shit
is the
to do with
point.
Kyrie.
But this is exactly the point.
At least Kyrie got millions in the bank, so when they fire his ass, I ain't got millions.
But this is like primarily like this is precisely the point. If you're afraid to even say anything, then what are we actually talking about? If you feel like, if I say anything negative about a Jewish person or Jewish people in general, or not even saying anything negative because nobody's saying anything, just having a discussion about it, like, did Nick Cannon really do anything bad other than just tell you what he's been researching and learning?
Right.
And then you tried to cancel him. He's not.
Tried to cancel
nobody's
him.
saying anything negative, like bad about you, outside of Kanye West in his little soliloquy and in his rant.
And this is when NAACP need to step on the podium and show the facts. Because if these are facts, then these are facts. If this is
you can't change history.
And so why is people allowing history to be thrown in the garbage?
The same way Ron DeSantis.
Right.
The same way Ron DeSantis is saying. The same way Ron DeSantis is saying you can't teach. That America was founded on stolen ground, on stolen land. The same way they're really trying to erase us from history.
Yes.
So by you saying cancel Kyrie for saying for even sharing the book or sharing the movie,
because he didn't even say he agreed. He didn't say anything. He said he was researching his name and what his name means. So he's doing his own self stuff.
And he's only doing that because of the fact that y'all brought us here and erased our history. That's the only reason. Let's call a spade. And here I go with my aggressiveness. Here I go with my aggression.
I was about to say that.
Here I go with my aggression again. Here, let me bring it. Let me take it out from Brooklyn. Let me migrate to Jersey. Okay.
Bring your
okay. The only reason why he is doing that, because y'all brought us here, y'all literally stripped us from our history, our heritage, our background, our lineage. So the only way that we know somewhat of who we are, we literally have to Google it.
Yeah.
What kind of uncircumcised Philistine is this, where we got to Google who we are? Everybody else can go to their grandma or their papa and ask them. We can't do that.
Because even after we were brought here, we were torn away from our families.
So can we talk about that? Can we talk about that?
We were torn away and sold.
Even though we fought, and I am to my Jewish brothers and sisters that fought in the civil rights movement with us, power to you. But how many slave ships were owned by Jews? Let's call a thing, people. After Reconstruction, who was the person that literally fought for the Confederacy? What was his last name? Let's call a thing, people. Yep. Now, subsequently, let's come up to 2022. Leo Cohen, who makes his money off of Black bodies. Let's call a thing, people. This is not anti-Semitism. This is facts.
Thank you.
You can't say that it's anti-Semitism when it's facts.
And just to be clear, the wording, I don't know who saw that interview with Leo Cohen and Charlemagne, but the way he asked the question was great. So essentially he asked him, like, don't you think it's a little bit hypocritical to, like, don't you think you're doing harm to the, Black community by promoting this? And he talks about it. He was just like, it's dangerous stuff. It's a tough game, and it's dangerous, and all this other stuff. And it's just like, so you don't think that that's a problem? And his response to that was, I got mouth to feed. So
guess
it's
what,
not
Leo?
my problem.
He can feed his grandchildren's great grandchildren's with as much money as he's made, because Leo been in the game for a minute.
Mm-hmm. And I want to I had said this a few shows back, and I'm gonna say it again to anybody who is watching this show and is non-Black, and you always, like, every culture always look down on us. Well, how come y'all can't do this, and how come y'all can't get it together? So
pull yourselves up.
Yeah.
By your
reason why
you're lazy.
We never got a handout. We never got our reparations. My girlfriend worked for 2 Jewish brothers who came here with nothing but the shirts on their backs from the Holocaust. America had nothing to do with the Holocaust, like America has nothing to do with the Ukrainian war and Russia. But what America did was they gave all the Jews that came over here from the Holocaust money. And what did they do with that money? The 2 brothers, they opened up a construction company. And with that construction company, mind you, they came here with nothing but the shirts on their back. With that construction company, they built several apartment complexes in New Jersey. So a lot of these big apartment complexes that you see is owned by these 2 brothers. And she said every 3 months, they deposit in all the grandchildren's accounts individually $150,000 in each grandchild's account. But they came here with nothing but the shirts on their back, like we came here on slave ships and was not handed anything. I was going to say shit, but I'm going to be a woman and a lady. We were handed nothing. Now, the fact you could look up in the history books, there's a lot of Koreans that came over here with nothing but the shirts on their back. And then they popped up with these fruits and vegetable stands all over the place. And then everyone would look down on us. How come you couldn't do what we did? Because no one handed us anything. All we do is get a Social Security check every January. Okay, I rest my case. But when we tell the truth about our history, everybody, nigga, sit down in the corner, shut up. Nobody asked you for your opinion. Shut up. Sit down somewhere. Just go shuck and jive and rap your music and put some gold chains around your neck.
Condition. Anybody trying to hear that? The condition not to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he does have a large platform. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of things. He had a thing back in the back when he was like, he was on a yacht and he ain't want no Black women on the yacht.
Cool, Kyrie Irving?
Nobody boycott him then. Where was the calls from Charles Barkley and Reggie Miller then?
Thank you. You know what I love? That's how I love you.
Like, nigga, this is what be pissing me off.
I can tell.
Okay, hold up.
Yeah,
See, because there's aggression.
It's right. That's what I said. I wanted to
take that Brooklyn at your heart.
bring it to the forefront.
Let it out.
Okay.
You got hate in your heart. Let it out.
Yeah. This is what be pissing me off. Like when people do stuff that directly attacks us. When slavery was a choice. When Kyrie Irving was out here popping bottles with Becky and with the good hair. Oh, he was the best player. Oh, we love you, Kyrie. All right. The minute he's on a soul search and he's trying to power to his people,
Shut him down.
I shut him down. Shut him. You know what I mean? But back when slavery was a choice, everybody in Sunday service talking about hallelujah, salvation and glory. Just a harmonizing and a woo, woo, woo. Nobody had a problem with Kanye after slavery was a choice and Harriet Tubman ain't free. Nobody.
He didn't get shut down.
After he pissed on Harriet Tubman's legacy. Ain't nobody had a problem with Kanye. So
See,
all of y'all screaming anti-Semitism, sit y'all asses down, because everybody that makes money off of black bodies, and you didn't care a year ago when it was us dying, but because of the fact that somebody just shares a post, now it's anti-you. But you're literally pushing the narrative on us being killed or us being burglarized and just stealing our everything that we have for your profit. That's all right. Keep that party going. Keep that narrative playing. Keep that record spinning all day. Put it on repeat.
Imagine. I feel like Martin Luther King right now, when he had that speech, I have a dream, and I have a dream that one day we as black people will be like those other cultures and not tolerate anything from any other culture. That when be the mirror image of these other cultures that don't tolerate anything. Be a mirror image of the gay community, the LGBTQ community, where we won't tolerate. That's my dream. Like Martin Luther King had a dream. That's my dream. That we won't tolerate what the others don't tolerate.
Dave Chappelle said all we needed was some booty shorts.
And so, what are our final takeaways? What are our final takeaways?
What are the takeaways, ladies and gentlemen? This has been such an auspicious
booty shorts.
You know what? I ain't dealing with y'all.
Ending that rant with that comment is nuts.
What's the takeaways, ladies and gentlemen?
What are our final takeaways? It can't be about booty shorts. Yes. Boycott black murder.
Boycott black murder.
Yes, I love that shirt.
That's my takeaway. Too.
And again, I know this is a different segment, but rest in peace to Takeoff and God, and I'm gonna pray for the whole family, because you guys, I can't imagine that call his family got. They received that he was in the bowling alley and got shot. Like, no, that's stuff in the 80s. Shot in a bowling alley? This Filipino lady said something to me that was so phenomenal. She duped me into buying her $25 book when I went to see her. Okay, $25 for the book. I am so mad, right?
Jesus.
But the title is dope. It's called From Sweet Potatoes to French Fries. And it's her journey where she ate sweet potatoes for 2 whole years. She was stuck in the mountains in the Philippines. And that's all they ate for 2 years was sweet potatoes. And then they moved to America and she had her French fries. But she said something to me. She said, every person should write an autobiography. And in that autobiography, write about this current situations in the news. Infuse it in your autobiography so that when you 50 to 100 years from now, when the kids in your lineage are reading your book, they get a history of their culture. And that is perfect for Black people because we don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, they, like, if unless 100 years from now, Chaya, your great grandkids watch the shows that you're producing, they won't know their lineage.
Yeah.
So if we write autobiographies, so like for us, we can infuse the whole George Floyd and the COVID-19 because 100 years from now, people ain't gonna be thinking about COVID-19, and no one's gonna know the magnitude of how our lives were stopped for a whole 2 years plus.
Yeah, how it changed our lives forever.
Yeah,
but you have PTSD reading that back later on.
Yeah. And so your great grandkids will be able to see their lineage through your writing. So
because our grandparents didn't talk about the trauma that they endured.
Yes.
We just found out at Shanah's birthday dinner that my grandfather had a bayonet through his back in the Vietnam War.
What?
We had no idea. Like we thought that he had surgery. Because we always saw the scar, but we never knew that he was in active duty and he had a bayonet, was sliced through with a bayonet. We had no idea. Wow. Didn't even give him a military funeral.
Damn.
And we had no idea. But I'm just like, but he never once spoke about his trauma.
There's so many Black men that was in the Vietnam War and they came back and it's a mystery of what they went through.
Never spoke about his trauma.
We have to watch through their eyes of what the Vietnam War was all about.
Yep.
So
trying to get justice does not make you a snitch. That's one.
No more chocolate milk and pizza for school lunch. Honestly, that's one of the main factors in why our youth ends up the way they are. Stomach problems, gastrointestinal issues. That's one of our main issues.
No, I ain't doing. Right.
Noey. Do you have anything of substance?
I mean, people just got to do better. Generally, just across the board.
Let's do better.
Better in life, better with social media habits, and just doing better in general. Folks gotta start telling the truth.
I just want to say that a lot of the truth is kept from us purposely, and it's up to us to find out the truth. They said if you want to hide something from a Black man or a Black woman,
write it down,
put it in a book. So this is why we need to open up a book and read. Exactly. We need to read and know that a lot of the systems are put in place to keep you in a docile, mundane, oblivious, ignorant state. So that you can kill your brother, hate your sister, and basically kill yourself. Mentally, physically, emotionally, dietarily, gastrointestinally, like Chris said. So we have to be the change that we want to see, and it starts here. It starts here. And I am going to make a conscious effort to deal with my aggression, because this conversation has shown me even more that I do have a lot of built up toxicity from my upbringing and anger from my upbringing, because right?
I agree.
I have anger. I have anger from my upbringing and what I have seen and endured growing up. And I think I need to deal with that. So to that, I say that this episode has been cathartic for me. So I say thank you to all of you. I feel a little emotional, but I say thank you to all of you for that. Breathe in. You make me so sick. Make me so sick.
But you know what, Chris? I'm turning 46 this year, and I never realized that the reason why I was going home with cramps was because I had the chocolate milk and the cream.
That's what I'm saying.
I never realized.
Keep a darker criminal link.
I just like all these
criminal
years.
link.
I used to go home with cramps and I had to lay down. What's wrong? My stomach hurt. My stomach hurt.
You just had pizza, orange.
Because they didn't have but before Bloomberg, it was anything goes in the dietary restrictions in New York City.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
It was just like after Bloomberg, he had letters grading. Each restaurant had to be. That's the only thing I can say he did good for New York. After that, after Bloomberg, you had to literally be a billionaire to live in New York. But before then, anything goes. You could eat with roaches and rats. Mm-hmm. But after Bloomberg, you had to, what restaurant you was going to, had a grade A, grade B.
I can't go to anything else other than a grade A.
Right? Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like that before Bloomberg.
It wasn't like that. And that'd be the best food too.
Right? After Bloomberg, you would see the restaurants you love to go, you'd be like, D.
I saw a Chinese food restaurant that I go to all the time, and I saw the way it looked the other day. I was like,
I ain't been to a Chinese restaurant since COVID.
They got the F, but they just draw the A. They just draw the line and make it an A.
The A look different too. It had like a square top, like
it's blue.
But when they have B before you made it an A.
It looked like a minion. It looked like a minion A.
Why is your A in a different font?
I know a D or a B when I see it.
This ain't no A.
It's like, why is your A in a different font?
But that is sure be hitting though.
The strips.
You know, when you do the painting.
Yeah. So, to Chris, Eve, Noey, Kish, and Shanah Dawn, Shanah. That is her Hebrew name, Shanah. I'm Chaya. That's right. And we are the Melanin Movement family.